Hi, I'm Abigail Orrey. I'm a part of the Uber Technologies group. My team includes myself, Liza Adams, James Powell, and Jalen Crosby. I will be talking about the history of Uber Technologies, their CEO, their big accomplishments, and how they started and became about as a business. Uber Technologies is a popular mobility service provider that is available in around 71 countries. Around 10 years ago, Uber Technologies was created and is located in San Francisco, California. Dara Khosrowshahi is the chief executive of Uber Technologies. He is very committed to Uber. In fact, he actually quit his old job to join Uber as their chief executive, not knowing what the future would bring. He didn't know if the company would fail or succeed, but he loved the idea of Uber and went for it anyways. Dara is very loyal and cares about his employees. He shows that he is human and will make mistakes, but that he is always trying his best. He also likes for his employees to put input on ideas for the company, showing them that they are a team and that he appreciates their ideas. Uber is a pretty well-known mobility service. That being said, Uber shows that they are a business that continues to grow their customer base and is determined to find new ways to get their business out there. The most important thing to Dara and his company is the protection of employees, customers, and bystanders. With the coronavirus making such a big impact on the world, I assumed it would have with Uber as well, and it did. Uber definitely took a hit with the pandemic financially and physically, but they still have their heads held high. Of course, the state had put in place new laws with COVID to keep people safe from the virus, but Uber also put some in place. For example, they had canceled a few of their rideshare programs, and they also made sure that their customers had followed the 6 feet social distancing rules. Even now, with the future unknown, Uber Technologies is still going strong even in the face of a global pandemic. Some highlights for Uber are, of course, COVID starting in March, and in July, Uber teamed up with grocery stores and Postmates to deliver fast food and groceries to people in their homes. And in October, they raised $500 million in funding for Greenbrier. COVID also caused some pretty damaging financial problems for Uber Technologies. With that said, their CEO, Dara, is okay with having to spend money to make money. In a time like this, no one knows what to expect, and the company has said that they don't know what the future will bring, but they are determined to continue growing Uber Technologies and make their rideshare service available worldwide someday. Some more important accomplishments for Uber is in November when Uber Reserve launched. Uber continues to make amazing progress in growing their business and their accomplishments. In the 2020 business highlights, Uber stated, in quote, that 2020 was a year like no other. Like many companies, the global impact of the COVID-19 pandemic put Uber to the test. Despite many challenges, we proved that we are capable of adapting under the pressure of a global crisis, end quote. Overall, Uber Technologies has had a hard time with the pandemic, just like everyone else, but they kept going and continue to keep going. They are a company that loves their job and their customers. They make it work even in tough times and aren't scared of what the future brings. They are committed to being the best they can be as a company and are excited to see how far their company can go. They continue to work together as a team and do the best they can to their abilities to make their company the best in the mobility service industry. Dara and the rest of Uber Technologies company are hardworking people who had an idea and brought it to life. They continue to make huge progress and important goals that they will achieve. With all of their accomplishments and throughout COVID, they still continue to succeed. Everyone had a tough time during COVID. Some people lost their jobs, some people got sick, and so on. For Uber, Dara continued to see the best in the company. He pushed through and continues to succeed in making Uber Technologies a growing business.
Hi Hi, I'm James Powell. I'm going to be covering the external analysis for Uber Technologies. We'll start with the 5 forces analysis. We will start with the risk of entry, which we rated as high. This is due to the fact that the business model is easily replicable, and any company giving the proper amount of capital would be able to replicate the business model that Uber operates under. Uber does, however, have a strong brand recognition that will assist them with mitigating any issues that may come up from that. Along with their strong brand recognition, that helps them in the next phase, which is the rivalry amongst established firms. We rated that as minimal. There are other firms that do business in much the same way as Uber. However, their brand recognition is currently strong enough to hold that off. Next will be the bargaining power of buyers, which we rated as low. The normal customer is not going to be comparing taxi rates with Uber cost. They're looking more at convenience. That has really led to that. Next is the bargaining power of suppliers. The suppliers in this format will be the drivers. We rated that as moderate. There are several different movements going on for the drivers to become employees versus contractors as they are currently listed. That will affect their pay, their benefits, and the cost to the company. Next is the threat of substitutes. While there are many other substitutes, you've got taxis and things along those lines. Rated that as moderate because the convenience that is offered by Uber will normally overrule that and will be enough to hold those off. Next is opportunities and threats. Opportunities, one that they took advantage of already is Uber Eats. They can continue to build on that. They're expanding it from not just delivering meals from restaurants, but now they are also doing grocery delivery and things of that nature. And they need to continue to build on that. Next would be Uber Freight, which is their current company that they use that also it delivers freight. It's a logistics company. Right now that's something that is greatly needed in the country. We are suffering from a lack of drivers. Uber would be able to use that, and they could use it as a PR deal to try to get a little more positive vibes out of that. Next would be threats. Every company in the world right now is facing one of the same threats, which is the global economy. We're just coming out of the pandemic, and now there are wars potentially that could come up, so that's always a threat. The next big threat that I mentioned already would be the drivers changing to employees from contractors, which is a threat in the cost that it will have to the business. This could affect prices, and anytime you start to affect prices, you can start to affect business. So that is really something that Uber will need to monitor and try to mitigate. And as always, competition is always a threat. There's a chance anytime that Lyft could become a bigger business. You've got other companies such as Grubhub that competes against them in their delivery services. That could be an issue. So those are always concerns. The next part of the external analysis is the competitive environment. Currently, we rate the competitive environment as favorable. This is due to Uber's brand recognition that if they're able to leverage that to maintain their place in the current environment, they will be in really good shape. But they must be vigilant. As we've said before, the business model is easily repeatable. And if you were to get someone in place that started a business that had the capital that would be able to compete with them, that could very well become an issue. So that's something that they always have to keep an eye out for. Public transportation is always going to be another option that is much cheaper than what they offer. But overall, I would have to say that the external or competitive environment is very favorable for Uber at this time.
Hi, I'm Liza Adams, and I will be going over the internal analysis section of the report. There are many strengths that Uber has benefited from in recent years. The total revenue for Uber Technologies has grown a lot from 2020 to 2021, going from $11,139 in 2020 to $17,455 in 2021 in millions. Gross profit for Uber increased greatly from 2020 to 2021 as well, going from $4,356 to $6,227, and that's in millions as well. Uber has an advantage over other like companies, being available in approximately 71 countries. Uber Technologies is becoming increasingly easier to use and simpler to understand, and is able to operate at lower costs. While Uber does have many strengths, it also has weaknesses. The net income from 2020 to 2021 has decreased, going from an average of $6,768 in 2020 to $496 in 2021 in millions. Due to COVID, Uber has had to lay off a large number of employees and experience less business due to the pandemic. This pandemic changed travel patterns drastically. Some employees also feel unsatisfied and that they are underpaid, which could be in part due to the increase in prices of everything due to COVID as well as inflation. The female turnover rate for Uber employees is at a steady 76%, and Uber has also been impacted by many lawsuits and incidences that have occurred due to a failure to ensure the safety of their customers. This can be detrimental for business. In our report, you see that we have included a table of financial ratios for Uber Technologies. For the sake of time, I will only share a couple of these with you here. The current ratio for Uber Technologies, which is the current assets divided by current liabilities, is 0.977. The debt to equity ratio is total debt divided by total stockholders' equity. The debt to equity ratio for Uber Technologies is 0.723. I will now go over our findings from SWOT analysis. You can see on our report where we have included our chart, and I will go over some of our most significant findings. One of the findings that we believe to be most significant is that Uber is available in approximately 71 countries, and it was also found fit and proper to operate in London. I believe Uber has a significant advantage over like companies for this reason alone. While net income did decrease and Uber experienced less business due to the pandemic, this is due to COVID, and it is expected to return to normal. While net income decreased, the total revenue did grow. Uber has had some very good opportunities for the company to consider, the ones that I've listed here being the senior notes financing, Uber being found proper to operate in London, and the SK Telecom joint venture. I believe that all of these could potentially be very beneficial to Uber Technologies and are great opportunities to consider.
Hey, my name is Jalen Crosby, and I'm going to be covering the company strategy for Uber Technologies. I'm going to start off by talking about the corporate level strategies, business level strategies, their global approach and how Uber uses these strategies to market their product to as many users as possible, and how they are constantly improving their service to make it fit in with the modern day life. Uber is a world-renowned company, and they grew to be known around the world by depending on their marketing strategies and how effective they are. Uber's corporate level strategies lets them gain an advantage on their competition or other services that may pose as a threat, such as Lyft, Via, Curb, or any other transportation companies. Uber uses a strategy that is better known as a cost awareness strategy. This is how Uber will tell the customer the exact price of their trip before they even begin their transportation. This can help the customer have a lot more trust in the service, knowing that the price will not go up no matter how bad traffic or if there's another inconvenience during their trip. Another corporate level strategy that Uber uses is a differential strategy. Uber makes its company like no other when it comes to traveling. Uber has a wide variety in car styles and sizes and will be sure that they are clean as well. Uber uses this strategy so they cannot be compared to any other transportation service, and Uber is always trying to improve and enhance how customers use their service. Next, I will be discussing Uber's business level strategies. Uber's business level strategies are revolved around cost saving, convenience, and service range. Beginning with this topic, Uber's convenience is unmatched by any other transportation service, considering that anyone with a smartphone can make an appointment for a ride using the app on their phone. The customer can choose whatever size car they need and how long it will be until they get there. Along with the price and desired payment method, Uber is also increasing the range at which the service can be used. Uber is available to users in over 80 countries. Uber calculates to give about 15 million rides per day all across the world at having around 2.5 million drivers. There are about 20 to 50,000 Uber drivers in every state, which means the customers will not have to wait long for a ride using the service. Uber has kept evolving, reaching more people every day while making a complicated idea into an easy-to-use service. Finally, I will discuss Uber's global approach and how they continue to expand their service worldwide. Launched in San Francisco, California market 9 years ago, now being in over 500 markets all over the world, in fewer than 7 years, Uber managed to expand from North America to every populated continent: Europe, Asia, South America, Africa, and Australia. Uber expanded its offerings in markets like Thailand and India with a rickshaw and motorbike service, and that kind of growth in a product is unpredicted and has never been done before. It is important to know that every time Uber expands to a new country, it has to localize their technology with that country to make their service as simple and user-friendly as possible. Uber can get their service around so quickly because they are constantly improving their technology and efficiency so that their service can reach customers. Doing this was not an easy task for Uber, considering the balance they kept between meeting expectations and running a high-risk process, but Uber has managed to localize and manage their service at an outstanding level. No technology company has experienced these challenges and turned them into opportunities more acutely than Uber. Uber moved faster than any other company going international.